I blew the gasket on my Type R. Let's talk about why that happened. To give you guys a little bit of background as to what I originally started with, basic bolt-ons, exhaust, intake, with like little miscellaneous things here and there on the car. Then I went over and decided to go ahead and do a tune using Hondata. After I went over and used Hondata, everything seemed good up until the moment it wasn't, right? And it was very subtle, right? The things that actually started happening was misfires on cylinder 4, right? But it didn't always happen. It wasn't consistent. Then I started getting misfires on cylinder 3, but never at the same time. And then later on, I actually started getting misfires on cylinders 3 and 4, and that's when I went over and said, hey, I think it's time to go ahead and stop driving the car, took everything apart, then started seeing issues with the head gasket itself, as you saw at the beginning of the video. These are all the parts that I took off from the original build. Just wanted to go ahead and show you guys, just so you have an idea of everything that I had to go ahead and change out. A little bit later, we'll go ahead and get into the turbo and the valves just to go ahead and show you the damage. So that brings me into another topic that I kind of wanted to talk about, was the tune. Alright, so go ahead and do your homework on the tuner. What have other people said about them? Do they have any discrepancies with other people? As of right now, there's actually a discrepancy with a big tuner out over in California. I'm not going to say any names, mainly because I'm not here to bash people, right? I doubt they did it on purpose. I doubt it was malicious. And again, we're all here to have fun. We love the culture. We love working on cars. So again, do your homework. Go ahead and look it up. See what other people are talking about. See what people are saying about other tuners. And go with your gut. That's what I'm going to go ahead and say. So a lot of this goes into a lot of like just researching, doing your homework, and making sure that you're doing what you feel is good for your ride, right? You have to go ahead and take the good with the bad. Just like this right here, I went over there and took my time. Every single little piece that I put together, used the service manual, torqued everything down to specs. And at the end of the day, I still had this issue where I'm rebuilding this motor again. Going through part by part, right? You can kind of see on the turbo, there's actually a little bit too much play on here. I don't know if I can actually get this on the camera. Trying to see if I can show you guys at a different angle some of the issues I was having here. So I don't know if you guys can see that play, but honestly, that's way too much play for a turbo. So if you have that issue on your turbine wheel, stop using it. As far as these Ferrea boxes, I kind of wanted to have these out to kind of show you the part numbers and stuff that I used for this other initial rebuild. I know it says TR3, but I wouldn't worry about it. The cams I'm actually using is Kelford drop-ins. I haven't used them yet, and this is actually going to be going into my second build, which this is why I'm starting to do the videos. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys along with me on the journey to go ahead and do this secondary rebuild piece by piece to kind of show you what I'm doing. So moving on over to the valves themselves. On the exhaust valves, you can kind of see which valves had more buildup according to which valves are actually misfiring. I'm sorry, which cylinders were misfiring. So on the left you have the intake valves, on the right you have the exhaust valves, and then you have all the other pieces, seats, retainers, keepers, valve seals, that I went over and changed out as well according to all this stuff here. This was my close call. I actually had to take these out for the turbo. They got stuck, and just like a lot of people actually end up doing, they tap it out or whatever. I actually had to redo the threads inside the turbo housing itself, but it ended up being successful in that, so I was pretty lucky. Went over and replaced the timing chain, timing chain guides, because they say when you do the timing chain, you always want to do the guides as well. Then a couple of the turbo gaskets, head studs, timing chain tensioner, spark plugs, which whenever you're having an issue like this, spark plugs can actually tell you a lot. So go always pull them out, check them, and see what's going on with it. If it's completely burnt, hey, you got some pretty big problems. But going on to the heart of all this, right? We have a burn through here, a burn through right here, and also another burn through right here. And this was actually pretty bad. So if you actually look on the other side of it, same thing, burn through, and then this one almost finished going through. But again, this is not a good sign. Typically, I went back and forth trying to figure out what the issue could have been. Changed out coil packs, changed out spark plugs, changed out a whole bunch of things, but at the end of the day, still really don't know what it is. People like to go over and try to blame the head studs, saying that they're actually too weak to actually hold the head in place. When I went over and untorqued it, it came out just fine, so I didn't really see an issue there. Looking on some of the forums, some people would actually say, like, I believe it was 4-piston racing. They said that if you're frying stock head gaskets, more than likely it's the tune. So I just want to go ahead and preface by saying I'm not a professional. I'm not a super mechanic by any means. I am just like a lot of you guys, 9-to-5 job, doing this on the side because I love cars, right? So I've been doing this since I was 16. I'm 37 now, so you can kind of do the math. I've been doing this for a little bit, right? Trial and error, blew up transmissions, motors, you name it, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of us has been there. But some of the lessons I learned on the Type R, right? One of them, head studs, right? On this second build that I'm actually doing right now, some people are actually trying to say that the head studs that I chose probably led to the failure of my head not completely clamping and sealing with the block. Now, also keep in mind, I did not use the manufacturer gasket. I ended up using the JE Pro Seal gasket. This is a secondary one. Now, mind you, this is probably one of the more expensive routes to go. Not really necessary. If you actually listen to 4-piston racing, they'll actually go over and tell you to use the manufacturer head gasket that Honda provides, considering that they were able to use one at 1,000 horsepower on their race engine. So this isn't really needed as long as you do everything the right way. With that being said, I actually went over and got the stock head gasket from Honda. So we're actually gonna go ahead and go that route again. Going back to head studs, right? So I went over and tried to look on ARP's website to actually get a set of head studs for the K20C1 Type R motor, and you don't really find it there, right? But if you actually go to 4Piston's website, the ARP head studs are over there. Now, I don't know if 4Piston has an exclusive contract with ARP to go ahead and sell just the K20C1 head studs through them, but I haven't found it anywhere else. So if you guys actually found it somewhere else other than 4-piston racing, please let me know in the comments so the rest of us can find it, you know? So a little bit about this build, right? One of the main components is the turbo. I went with the RV6 anti-surge R660 turbo. Originally, I went over and bought the regular R660 without the anti-surge, and then they shortly came out after with the anti-surge turbo. Kind of freaked out, but good thing they actually have an upgrade service where you can actually send in your original turbo, and with a little bit of extra money, they'll go ahead and send you the carbon fiber inlet pipe and the other components to go ahead and go with the anti-surge housing on the 660 turbo. To go over more of the parts that I was using for my build and to show you a size comparison of what I was dealing with at the beginning. So right here I have the stock intercooler from the FK8 Type R, and this right here is a PRL intercooler, which I took off mainly because I went over and switched it out with the Mishimoto intercooler. Later on in another video, I'm going to go ahead and do a comprehensive comparison between the stock, PRL, Mishimoto, and if I can actually get a hold of it, I'm going to go over and put the RV6 intercooler against the lineup. Also, what I'm thinking about doing is tuning the car with the Mishimoto, going over and putting the metrics up for that, and then later on, maybe the next day, go over and install the RV6 if I can actually get a hold of it, tune it with that, compare the metrics between each other, and give you guys more of a comprehensive power difference between the RV6 and the Mishimoto, because right now, in my opinion, those are the two top dogs for our cars when it comes to intercoolers. One more thing I wanted to go over before I wrap this up on the parts, because I can go ahead and keep going. I just wanted to go over and talk about a few key parts that mattered to the build. So another thing that I was kind of messing around with was coil packs, right? I went over and tried to do this MSD coil pack. It worked. It made the car run. The only thing I didn't like about it was when I was trying to install it, I actually had to make some cuts on the connector itself to go ahead and make it fit, right? So it's just a little bit different in the shape of it. So you can kind of see where I had to shave off part of it to go over and make it work with the connectors on the FK8. Now, if you look at the one that comes from factory, the stems are a little bit in a different location. So the actual grooves or the bumps, whatever you want to call it, is a little bit lower. And on this one, it's a little bit higher, which kind of makes me think, what if the electrical properties are different and the one that Honda puts on the car, which is made by Hitachi, is better overall? And based on what some of the other tuners that I've talked to have said, go with Hitachi, don't mess with anything else. What I'm going to go ahead and use is the factory coil pack from Honda, the Hitachis. On the next video, what I plan on doing is doing a leak down test. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the tools and everything that I'm using. So a lot of this stuff, like the testers and everything, are coming from Harbor Freight and Home Depot. You don't have to go ahead and get the top dog, best of the best or whatever to go ahead and do a lot of this stuff. But when I go ahead and do the video, you guys will see what I'm doing. I'll explain everything more then, so you can kind of get an idea of how to do it yourself. That's all I have for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Next video, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the leak down test, the torque test, and try to figure out what went wrong with the engine itself on the previous dyno run. And if you're wondering about the metrics, I'll go ahead and put it real quick at the end of this video so you guys can go ahead and see what I made on a GIMP motor. So not good, but still kind of impressive that the thing was kind of falling apart out on the dyno itself. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And real quick, let me go ahead and show you the built block. So this is just a quick little view of the block itself. So this was an offer by 4Piston Racing that they were doing for their Black Friday sales. They had a couple of them left over. So what this has is, it's a brand new casting, brand new crank, brand new ACL bearings, wide scope pistons, and boost line rods. So the only thing that I don't have on this thing is sleeves. Do I need them? Probably not. I'm not trying to push like obscene amounts of power. And as we all know, these motors can actually take quite a beating as is. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about this stuff, just put them down in the comments again, and I will be more than happy to go over and answer them for you. Thanks for watching.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life. I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel?